Vanessa, can you start the recording?
Great. Well, welcome everyone. Glad you could join us today. This session will be recorded. I am Daisy Morgan, and I am the Southwestern Regional Volunteer and Service Program Coordinator and the RAP Coordinator for the Southwestern region. And I'm really excited to host this event today because I got my start in the Resource Assistant Program. I was a resource assistant with Mobilize Green starting in 2017, and I did my term up until 2019 and then was hired permanently into my current position as the Regional Volunteer and Service Program Coordinator. So I'm really excited to learn more about the resource assistance from our very first cohort that we've ever had. So when I started the program, we didn't have the cohort system set up, but if you can see in the first slide that we have today, there was an opportunity for all of the resource assistants in the pilot program to visit Washington, D.C., and there was an in-person meeting there. Of course, this was before the pandemic, but that was really the only chance before this current system that we have for the resource assistant program for the different resource assistants to meet each other. So throughout the program in 2018, in the Jingle Act, we got official legislation for the Resource Assistant Program, which also included the Direct Hire Authority. So that had us moving to a little bit different structure for the Resource Assistant Program. We're calling it RAP 2.0. And this group of emerging professionals was our very first cohort. And because of the pandemic, we had a little bit of timing and adjusting and flexing to how it was going to work out. And a lot of things moved to virtual versus in person. But we're really excited because we did have 61 RAs in our very first cohort, and they're nearing the end of their terms. And so some will be extended and some will be completing their term and ready for hire. And a few of them are going to tell us more about the projects they did today. So we're really excited for that. And then later we'll have some leadership words from Jerri Marr. So I believe first up we have Bridget Tam, and she's going to tell you a little bit about the work she did.
Hi, thank you, Daisy, and also Vanessa and Sylvia, and thank you just everybody for coming to meet us and taking the time today. So I am Bridget Tam, and I am with the Mobilize Green. I am the Cooperative Education Resource Assistant in Region 3 at the regional office in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I'm working with the Office of Communication and Engagement. My RA position was designed with our Region 3 partners, Arizona Association for Environmental Education and also Environmental Education of New Mexico, both affiliates of the North American Association of Environmental Education, to help create a state of the state product that would give us kind of a snapshot of the outdoor and environmental learning opportunities available across the Forest Service's Southwestern region. So with the next slide, please, Daisy, we now have named it, and it's the State of Outdoor and Environmental Learning, or SOUL, a landscape analysis of opportunities in the Southwest. My work has had four major components. There is a policy piece, and I've been researching Arizona and New Mexico legislature, cataloging all the bills, resolutions, memorials that support connecting youth, connecting people to the outdoors and environmental education. The data management piece is the design and population of a database, and this will be a public data set with programs, curriculum, resources, initiatives, and it was a fair amount of data mining, but a lot of the information is actually coming from one-on-one conversations. I've been emailing over 120 different organizations, and I've had about 50 calls, Zoom meetings with individuals, just hearing firsthand the stories of these organizations, the innovations and adaptations in response to COVID, how important having access to public lands has been for many. And it's just been incredible getting to know and connect with the outdoor and environmental learning community here in Region 3. And then, of course, there's this last piece. And we want to make all of this information accessible and easy for us in the Forest Service, but also organizations and the public to understand. And while the database, that data set, will be available to anyone that wants to use, search, run queries, using a data visualization platform like Tableau can make big picture information and analytics much more aesthetically pleasing and easy to interpret. And with the next slides, I'd love to give you all a sneak peek at our dashboards. So these have just entered the internal governance process. And, at this time, it's only the USDA layout that's been approved, but I'm pretty sure we'll be getting the Forest Service logo incorporated. And I do have a second note here is that my RA term ends in May. So this is not a complete data set. I do see those Arizona numbers increasing quite a bit. And then the next slide kind of shows how these are fully interactive dashboards. So, you can kind of hover over these location spots and the program will come up, what organization offers it, what grades are served, and where it's taking place. For a deeper dive on the next slide, you can look even closer, like where these programs are actually happening, what kind of content is being offered, what kind of organizations are offering or providing these opportunities. And we can really get a good look at what's going on with outdoor and environmental learning in our region. And the final note I wanted to make is that I didn't have a lot of experience with data analytics before this position, but with the RA training funds, anything I needed to strengthen skills for this position, and quite honestly, any future career, training was available. So that's just my last slide, kind of a nod to some of those opportunities to strengthen my understanding of environmental education and our partner organizations. I was able to attend the NAAEE conference, and I kind of just have a nod to these organizations in the last slide. But I was also, for communicating this work and to continue working with the public. I am now a proud NAI certified interpretive guide. And then to build strong data analytics skills, I've taken loads of data science courses. So just a giant thank you, not only for this opportunity, hopefully, foot in the door for a career with the Forest Service, but also for the tons of training that I might not have necessarily been able to afford on my own. So I am beyond appreciative, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Bridget. That's really interesting work. Next up, we have Jonathan Blackman. Blackman?
Hey guys, 1 second. So my presentation, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my RA experience and happy St. Patty's Day. So next slide. Next slide. Thanks. Firstly, I will give you a short intro about myself and my role. Then I'll go into a bit of a deep dive about office culture and then give an example of the kind of work I got to do and follow up with some highlights about my overall experience. Next slide. So I'm a special uses resource assistant out of the WO, or the Washington office, and I work in the Lands and Realty section under Elrin Denson, who is the Assistant Director of Lands and Realty. Originally, I'm from Miami, Florida, but I live in the DMV and Rockville, Maryland. I'm also a graduate student at American University, getting an MA in International Affairs with a thematic concentration in political ecology. That's a picture of me right there. I had about 5 different federal internships. That's a picture of me doing one of them right there. 1 with the legislative branch on the Hill, and 4 working at sister land management agencies. Although the work I did at the other agencies was substantive and at times really fulfilling, the work that I got to do out of the Washington office, it's been a real treat. I got to see how things are done in DC, and I got to work on a little bit of everything. Next slide. So in the background is 1400 Independence Ave. It's a picture of it, and it's the HQ of the Department of Agriculture and where the Sidney R. Yates Federal Building is. I've only been there once to pick up my PIV card, but it's where I would have been had we would have been in person. Since I've been extended for another 6 months, maybe I'll see more of the inside one day. And a lot of the work that I've gotten to do, and by a lot I mean just about all the work that I do, entails collaborating usually with senior staff on different projects, but also with Dylan Cabina, the other RA who's going to speak in a little bit. So a lot of projects from the regional level grow legs have to come through or will eventually come through the Washington office, which just reinforces the need for collaboration within the WO and the district and forest level. And to give you an example of this, on a project I was involved with is the Land and Water Conservation Fund, or LWCF, federal land acquisition process. And that process starts at the Forest Service regional level. And, they send up a list of projects they rank in importance to the WO. It then gets re-ranked for the appropriation of funds to acquire projects in all regions, barring fiscal constraints. And this requires constant communication between the regions and the WO. Another important facet of my office is the training that I've been able to receive. In my office, I was able to learn how to use several internal databases like special uses data systems, or SUDS, management, or NRM. And I really got to sharpen my Excel skills. And I was essentially trained by Mark Chandler. In the fall, I also was able to take a GIS course at my university and kind of tied that together with the GIS projects that I was able to work on under the riparian ecologists, so a threats assessment, basically. And that's to say that all the opportunities in the WO, it was there for me to work on several different projects at once and kind of build up the technical expertise to better myself professionally. And even the quote unquote busy work or the grunt work is substantive and allows you to pick up new skills. And I say that coming from a background where, I've had internships for sister land management agencies where all I did was build barbed wire fences. So overall, I'm very satisfied with the kind of growth the WO work office culture facilitates. Next slide. Hello? Next slide.
I advanced to the next slide. I'm not sure.
Thanks. So a few highlights, definitely the interacting with the senior staff and being able to see individuals who look like me in high positions as an African-American male at a government agency. That's something I'd never seen before, and it gives me hope for the future that, I can achieve something similar one day. Another highlight is I feel more prepared today for graduation in the summer than I did 6 months ago when I first started. And third would be the work-life balance. I was on a call yesterday about the agency looking into the telework agreement, so hopefully teleworking will still be a part of the WO work culture in the future. Only caveat that I have is that for individuals who want to take an opportunity in the WO, perhaps they should be paid more for living in the DMV. I live with several housemates, and I'm an hour drive from the area, and we're online. But for the future, and future interns might not be able to take opportunities in the WO should we go in person, and would be frozen out of the opportunity since we don't have a forest to live on, and renting the district means you can't realistically live off $3,000 a month before taxes without sacrificing a little or a lot depending on your socioeconomic status. That's the last thing I'd like to leave on. But overall, wonderful experience, and I look forward to continue working with the Forest Service for the next 6 months, and trying to get hired. So thanks.
Thanks, Jonathan. That was very revealing and interesting look at the Washington office culture. I learned a lot from your presentation. And next up, we have Lauren Onofrio. Lauren?
Hello, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for coming today, and especially and I'm very appreciative for this experience. So my name is Lauren Onofrio, and I am a NEPA and Carbon Resource Assistant with the Office of Sustainability and Climate. And my goal as an RA has been to work with members of the OSC to improve consistent messaging and communications around carbon on NFS lands. And one of the goals of the carbon team in my office is to demonstrate the IPCC framing around the broad view of carbon. And so I will quickly walk you all through the narrow versus broad view of carbon that I have focused my time on learning. And so the graphic on the right here represents the narrow view, and this assumes two things. One, that the only positive management approach to growing forests and planting trees is because it takes up carbon from the atmosphere. And two, that forest management activities such as timber harvesting, reforestation, and prescribed fire immediately release carbon from the forest and into the atmosphere, where it is destined to stay forever. And so this narrow view does not consider space and time or where carbon goes when it leaves the ecosystem. It also doesn't consider the carbon cycle when forests begin to regrow after management. Next slide. And so this graphic here represents the closed loop cycle. And so the inner graphic, okay, sorry, I think there's a bit of a lag. Here it is. And so the inner loop there represents the boom and bust cycle, where growing forests remove carbon from the atmosphere, and it is emitted through fire and other disturbances. However, this closed loop also considers timber harvesting, where in this process, carbon is transferred off of the forest ecosystem and is stored in harvested wood products that we use in our everyday lives, such as lumber, paper, and fuel. And these long-lived wood products can store carbon for many decades or even centuries. And additionally, the residues from these harvested wood products can be used as an energy source. And through this process, carbon is released back into the atmosphere through energy generation, such as burning wood in a log stove. And so on the right of this graphic, you can see that fossil fuels create an open system because this carbon was formed over thousands of years in an environment that may never happen again. However, through the substitution effect, we can avoid the permanent release of fossil fuels and carbon into the atmosphere. And so when people substitute wood products for fossil fuels and fossil fuel intensive materials, that unused fossil fuel carbon can remain within and be stored for a lot longer period of time. And so moving on to the next slide, one of my goals as an RA was to focus on the science delivery approach for this messaging within NFS system lands. And so my supervisor, in collaboration with other staffs, created this template-based approach. And the goal here is to deliver carbon sequestration data and science to units in a way that not only leverages capacity, but saves time. And so I have, during my time as an RA, I have been able to work on scaling this approach. And so within this approach, units create a carbon white paper. And from there, it is used as an anchor for for a variety of different ways, such as capacity and improving carbon literacy. It can be used in NEPA for addressing carbon in project and plan level NEPA. It can be used in planning for addressing carbon in forest assessments and in ordinance with the 2012 planning rule, and also within monitoring. So overall, I have really enjoyed my experience because I have been able to engage with a lot of different regions and units and staffs and learn about how they have adopted this approach. And I also have been able to help with the continuation of their journey. And I feel as though I've been really enjoyed this experience and I've got to learn a lot. And I'm very thankful to all the people that have made this a very welcoming experience. So with that, I will transfer it over to the next RA.
Thanks so much, Lauren. Really interesting work. I was riveted by all your slides. Next up, we have Dylan Kubina. Dylan?
Hi, everyone. I'll just show my camera for a second because I don't have a picture. My name's Dylan, and I'm a RA with the Lands and Realty Management Program out of the Washington office, and I partner with Greening Youth Foundation. Next slide, please. I'm not sure if there's a lag, but I'll start talking about my next slide. So some of my goals were that I really wanted to connect with my mentors, coworkers, and some of the other resource assistants. I wanted to work on mission critical work because when I applied to be an RA, I saw that this was one of the highlights that you get to do essentially as an intern. So that really spoke to me. I wanted to stay organized and focused. I knew this would be a little challenging because it's COVID times and I'm teleworking. So I definitely wanted to try to do this to the best of my ability. I wanted to work in ArcGIS and learn how to use ArcGIS Pro. I wasn't sure how much of that I would be doing, but luckily I got to do a lot of that, which was a great surprise. And I wanted to understand the following data systems. I'll go a little more into detail, but SUDS, LSRS, LADS, and the Land Exchange Program. Land Exchange Program's not a data system, but I knew that it was complex and I really wanted to understand it better. Next slide, please. So my next slide shows a pie chart, and this is all of the time that I spent working under each of the programs on multiple different projects, but this is under the umbrella of the Lands and Realty Management program. So I worked most of my time probably in the land adjustment sector, and automated lands program, which we call ALP, is actually under that, but I separated it out because I had such a big project that I was working on, and I thought it would be good just to separate it. But for land adjustment, most of the things that I did were with Barbara Johnson, who's the land adjustment program manager. And I served on the fiscal year 2022 Land and Water Conservation Fund nomination panel right when I started. That was an amazing experience. I get to generate Teams meetings all the time. I get to discuss with regions, different staffing requests they have, and I get to draft congressional letters and decision memos for Congress. I'll go a little more into detail into some of my projects on the next slide. So with Automated Lands Program, or ALP, I got to do a gap analysis, which was a huge undertaking under Troy Warburton. He's the ALP program manager, and Susan Rizika and Kelsey David, they're two wonderful GIS specialists who basically help give Jonathan and I trainings on LSRS every single week so that we can then enter in all of the research natural areas and experimental forests that we found. I think we found about 277 in the last 6 months. So that's been a very large project that we're very proud of. And for special uses, I've been working with Mark Chandler, who's a realty specialist out of WOA, and Elrin Denson, who's my supervisor. They've been wonderful in giving me, private lessons in SUDS. I get to see the read-only user views and reports. We're always included on email threads, and we get to see like firsthand what's going on in the special uses department. There's so many different cases every day, and it's just great to immerse ourselves in that. And then the final project I'll touch on was with the riparian ecology department. I guess it's kind of its own thing, but we did this with Dave Merritt, who's a riparian ecologist, and I added a little picture of the map. This map, I turned off a lot of layers, but it's showing different threats to wildernesses and wild and scenic rivers. So we're now in phase 2 of, when I say we, I mean Jonathan and I, because we worked on this project together. And next slide, please. So the goals that I achieved, I would definitely say, yes, I connected and met with so many new people, wonderful mentors. And I feel that I did stay very organized. I started out in Washington State, and now I live in Columbus, Ohio. I actually just made that move within a couple of days. So it's wonderful to be able to telework and also get to live near my family. And creating change for efficiency, I feel that I've just started to do that, but I hope to continue doing that. And on my last slide, I just wanted to say that in the future, I'd love to continue with the Forest Service. I am extending, but I'm very hopeful that I'll get to become permanent someday, enhance my skills, and contribute to the synergies and efficiencies within the department. And of course, one of the greatest pillars of the Forest Service, which is to work to sustain the health of national forests. So regardless of what happens in the future, I'm forever grateful to the Greening Youth Foundation and to all of my mentors and colleagues for helping me grow. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Wow, I learned a lot about special uses in realty too. That's amazing. And we have one more speaker, one more resource assistant, certainly not last but not least, I'll say. We have Adelena Negrete. Adelena, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone. So my name is Adelena Negrete, and I worked over on the Lake Tahoe Basin Management Unit, and I was a conservation education assistant. And so I just kind of want to share my journey that I've had with the Forest Service and then my experience with Mobilize Green. And so I started with the Forest Service by volunteering in high school back in 2008. And then I did an internship with them where they hire high school students for the Generation Green program in 2010. And so this was my crew right here, and I'm on the bottom left corner. And so that was back in 2010. And that summer was one of my most amazing summers ever. And that's kind of where my passion for the outdoors and wanting to work for the Forest Service started. So next slide. So after my internship with the Generation Green, I was able to return back and have different positions with them. So it wasn't every season because there were some seasons where they didn't have some positions, but in 2012, I was able to work as a wilderness ranger. And so that's that first picture right there. And I would go out in desolation, do some rangering. And so that was a lot of fun. In 2014, I returned as a Generation Green crew leader. So I was able to do that full circle where I started off as a member and now I was able to be one of the crew leaders. And that was an amazing experience. And after that, I was able to stay on year-round as a conservation education assistant. And from 2014 through 2019, I had various contracts with different partners. And so that's kind of how I was able to stay on. But my goal was always to try to be a permanent employee. But it was always pretty difficult to try to get on in the forest that I wanted and to try to get on for kind of what I was interested in. And so I would do a lot of conservation education. So you can see there working with the community, working with the kids. And then in 2019, I started with Mobilize Green as a resource assistant, and I was able to have a few extensions until February 28th. And so with my time with Mobilize Green, I was able to do similar work, you know, still working with the kids, working with the community, working with the public. And so that's kind of where my passion has been at, kind of sharing my experience with the students and still being connected with that Generation Green program. And one of the things that I'm very thankful for with Mobilize Green and the RA program is after my first contract, it was going to be over kind of during like mid-pandemic. And so I was starting to get a little worried, you know, trying to find a new position when everything was closed. But luckily they were able to extend me, and I was super thankful for that because that helped provide more stability for myself and not have to be so worried about finding a new position. And I had just had a baby too, so I was really nervous about having to go back out, you know, working in a new place. But another thing that I'm also super thankful for is the direct hire authority. And so the reason why I share my history with the Forest Service is because throughout all of those years, you know, that was one of my main goals, is to try to get on as permanent. But like I mentioned, it just seemed like super difficult. And all my supervisors and everyone wanted to get me on, but it's just been kind of hard. But after getting my direct hire authority, I was offered a position to work as an information assistant. And so I started on March 1st, and I'm now a permanent employee. And I feel like that's one of my biggest accomplishments that I have had, because I'm still able to stay in my hometown. I'm still able to stay connected with that community that I built such a close bond with, work with all of our, you know, students, our local kids, everything like that. And of course, you know, stay close with my family, which was another one of my biggest goals. So I'm really thankful for this experience. And out of all the different partners and contractors that I've had, I feel like Mobilize Green has been one of the best ones, and they've helped me get into that door that I've been knocking at for so long. So I'm really excited for this, and this is, you know, a really great opportunity And I hope that, a lot of forests do take advantage of that direct hire authority, because there's a lot of people that do want to stay on. So thank you everyone, and especially a big thank you to my supervisors and my forest, the Lake Tahoe Basin Management Unit, for being so supportive with everything, and all the staff at Mobilize Green.
Congratulations, Adelina. Thank you so much for sharing. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we are going to turn things over to Jerri Marr, our Assistant Director for Recreation, Heritage, and Volunteer Resources in the Washington office. Jerri?
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, sounds great.
Good. Excellent. Well, first of all, let me just say, my name is Jerri Marr. As I said, I am one of the assistant directors in Recreation, Heritage, and Volunteer Resources and Wilderness and Wild and Scenic Areas with the U.S. Forest Service in the Washington office. And I was really thrilled at the opportunity. My camera's over, my machine's over here, so I'm pointing that way, my monitor. Just being able to see the variety of projects that you guys had the opportunity to work on. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for helping us out. We are so proud of this RA program that we have, and the opportunity that it gives us to, one, get much needed work done that we don't always have the capacity to get done, but two, allows us to engage with so many wonderful people who are looking for those opportunities to get experience, yet show us their skills and give us an opportunity to use our direct hire authority. So just know, if you are sitting there thinking today that, okay, yeah, I've been here, does anybody anybody in leadership in the Washington office even know that I was here? I want to tell you the answer to that question is unequivocally yes. We know that you are here. We wanted you here. We are thankful for what your being here does to help us to continue to get the work done and to meet our global priorities around the country. So thank you so much for that. I know that some of you, from my understanding, are, this is the end of your time. Some of you were, being picked up in the position. Some of you are going back to school. Some of you are going to other organizations, and some of you are extending your time with the RA program. And I just want to say that congratulations to all of you, wherever the road is taking you right now, because what you have accomplished and what you have experienced in the last couple of months is something that you can take with you no matter where you go. We would love to be able to hire each and every one of you in the permanent positions with the Forest Service. But we understand that financially that doesn't necessarily work out. Therefore, we are happy if you land with another organization as well, because what we know is that the experience that you have will translate into any job that you choose to do in the future. I know some of you that are saying, well, wow, I really wish I could still come back with the Forest Service. There may not be an opportunity where I currently am, but I'm not done with my desire to join on. And to you, I would say, don't be discouraged. If you didn't get hired in this round, you have that direct hiring authority. And I would tell you to stay connected, stay connected with the peers and the relationships that you've made. So while there may not be an opportunity where you were doing your position, that doesn't mean that there aren't other places. I know that just yesterday, I was having a conversation with someone about, using how glad we are to have the direct hire authority that the RAP program brings. And they were looking at a position, and I would say, you really should look at this. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow, I'm going to be talking with our recent graduates. At that point, will be our recent graduates, and they're going to be looking for opportunities. Don't forget that that's a tool that we as a supervisor have in our toolbox to try to get some of the positions filled to help us to continue to meet the global priorities that are in front of us. So, I say that, but I also want to say that I recognize that as you guys came into this cohort, that this is not what you signed up for. Most of you were thinking, hey, I'm going to go somewhere. I'm going to be in a new place. I'm going to meet people. This is my first opportunity. I'm looking forward to all that that brings. And because of the COVID pandemic, it didn't happen that way. And, not only that, the time that you had set aside to participate in this even got pushed out to a later start time. And we know the impacts that that had on you with that delay. And yet we still want to say thank you for still choosing us. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for participating in this virtual environment that was so different. Others of you actually did pack up, move out to the middle of nowhere to a place that you couldn't find on the map that Google had to help you find. And when you were there, you probably were thinking, oh my goodness, where is this? Where am I? And then we had, quarantine. And now you're in a place that you don't know anybody. You're not going to the office. I mean, it just wasn't exactly what you were thinking you were signing up for. Yet, let me tell you, with great pride, we appreciate the way that you hung in there, that you just did what you had to do, and you connected and you grew and you still made the most of this experience. And that's something that you can take with you no matter what, because here's the reality of life. We're not always going to get things just the way we want it. It's not always going to be the way that we imagine it. And what really matters is, what do you do with that opportunity when it doesn't line up to be exactly what you thought it would be? Resiliency is the key to success in life. The ability to be flexible and to change and to move and to go with the flow and still make the most of it. And for that, we are, as a leadership, extremely proud of each and every one of you for finding a way to make it through. On top of that, you had some other experiences that you probably weren't really expecting to happen. In addition to the pandemic, there were a lot of world events going on. There was a storming of the Capitol. There was a lot of just different social issues that were presenting themselves. And you may have found yourself in a situation where, because of all those, you were wondering about, am I in the right place? Do people know that I'm here? Am I safe? And you got the opportunity to connect and to work through that. And what I also hope that you had an opportunity to gain through those really tough experiences was to see, as an agency, how we care about world events and how we communicate, because this is who we are. We can't just act like those events are going on around us and not engage with them and understand how that's impacting us as individual people, as employees, and as an organization. And I think also bring into light, what else can we do to meet the needs and the concerns that are going on in the world? How can we be a world-class leader and not only being the best employer of choice, but also one that addresses issues that impact everybody? So I just want to say that, in case you're sitting there wondering, did anybody really see me? Did this experience really matter? It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. Yet, I want you to know, we saw you, we valued you, we appreciated you, and we are hoping that you will take what you've learned, apply it in your life, be resilient continuously, no matter where you are. Continue to think of us as an employer of choice, even if there wasn't an opportunity right now. Don't let this direct hire authority, run out on you. Continue to look, continue to connect, continue to build relationships, continue to network, hone your skills even more in the meantime, while you are waiting for that opportunity, wherever it may be. Brush up that resume. Make sure you've added everything that you've learned in this time period to present the best opportunity for an employer to really see the skill set that you're bringing and the wonderful opportunity and the gift it would be to us to have you as a part of our staff. Most of all, again, just want to say thank you. We value you. We appreciate you. Your being here made a difference. Don't ever, ever forget that. And we hope that you will continue to look for opportunities, as I know we will continue to look for opportunities to find a place for you permanently as a part of our organization. And with that, I just wanted to stop to see If there was any questions about anything or about your experience, you have someone here who's listening. So I'll turn it back to our moderator to see if there's a chance to take any questions.
Sure, if you'd like to ask a question, just raise your hand or put it in the chat box. Any questions?
While you're thinking of those questions, I will go ahead and also not miss the opportunity to say thank you, thank you, thank you to all of our partners, because without you, this wouldn't work. We need you, we rely on you, we depend on you, and we thank you for all the work that you do partnering with us together, sharing across the land to make sure that we are addressing just the many resource needs and issues that we have, and helping us to find the absolute best talent to be able to accomplish those goals. So to our partners that are on the call today, hear me say this: thank you. We couldn't do this without you. For the supervisors that are on the call who signed up to take on a RAP student, and you too found yourself looking for a different way to get the work done. It's not the way you thought it would happen, but your ability to step in and be flexible and find a way in this telework environment to still make the program happen, still provide opportunities, the same way that we are teleworking on a day-to-day basis to get things done. Know that we see that and we so appreciate that, and want to continue to encourage you and your leadership team to continue to look for ways to use the direct hire authority, not just for the RAP students that were on your units, but as you see, there's 60 different people just in this cohort who are looking for an opportunity. Please continue to look for those opportunities. Go there first where you have the option to do so, and see where we can bring more of these great young people into our organization, because I know, as we can see just from the great presentations, they're our future and they are definitely going to make a difference. So with that, did we have any questions come up?
Thanks, Jerri. No questions at this time. Anyone have a question? Here's your big chance to ask our leadership anything you want. Just don't always get this chance, so.
Anything goes. We're going to give you an opportunity. All right. Well, if I were you, I see. Do I see a hand?
Yep, someone, go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Jerri, that was an awesome speech. I'm actually motivated, even I work permanently, I'm motivated to come work for recreation. That was an awesome presentation, folks. Take heed with her words. She's right on point. My question to you, you've had RAs there. How many have you brought on in the RHVR? Do you know off the top of your head from the previous cohort?
You bet. So we've had several different RAs, and one of the things about when you start your career in the Washington office is that we want to make sure that you also get that field experience and get other experiences. So we have permanently hired into RHVR. Lady Ness is one that we just recently hired and converted into our program. But our other RAs that have come through our program have either went back to school, went overseas to do work with an agency, or got hired on by other agencies or partners. So we have yet to have one that didn't land back in a place that they were looking to be. And, one of the things that I tell people all the time who want to know, can I use the RA program? I want to do a RAP hire. And my first question, hear this clearly, leadership's first question is, do you have a permanent place for them? Because my preference is to land people where I know there's a permanent opportunity for them. So while we haven't on our staff hired many there, we want to definitely have where we have in the Washington office to continue to facilitate out, but we want to hire. But Lady is our most recent permanent hire that we have. So thanks for the question.
Can I ask a follow-on question?
Absolutely.
You mentioned a point there. How important is it to get field experience as well as WO experience and or regional experience? How do you classify those experiences?
Well, I would say that, we are an agency with regions all over the US. And if you want to be a leader in this organization, my encouragement is to know what you're leading, know what the issues are, know what's going on in the communities, know what's going on the ground. Getting out to the field, we're here to support the field and accomplishing the work on the ground. It says manage the land and care for the people. Well, in doing that with our RAP students, I want to make sure that you're getting out to the field. I think it's crucial to be able to go and connect with the land. And I think it's also important to try to see different ways that you can, different regions that you can work on, because while the issue may be the same, the way you handle it may be different. The way people see it may be different. And I think it's going to give you a greater flexibility and greater experience in the long run. So I think it's super important. And I would encourage people to try to get as varied experience as you can. I think, you're welcome. I see another hand.
Randy Swaza?
Yes. So my question is, has there been any sort of initiative, I guess, just to really try to educate a lot of the hiring managers on the direct hire authority? It's been my experience that when I've tried to use my direct hire, that some of the hiring managers don't necessarily understand exactly how it works, and so I'm wondering if there's just any sort of initiative to do a full debriefing for them on that.
Hey, thanks, Randy. Appreciate that. You're absolutely right. There does need to be more going on in the field. And one of the things that we are continuing working on, and I know that I, had a conversation, I don't know, maybe about 6 to 8 weeks ago with Merlene and her staff about how do we help our line officers and how do we help our folks in the region truly understand the RAP program, one, the opportunities that it's bring, how to use it, and then how to use that direct hire authority and where that program is important to use versus maybe some other type of program, and to try to show them that broad array. So it's something that we need to do a better job at, that we're committed to. And I think that you'll see within the next year, us looking for more and more opportunities. We're going to have a conversation here coming up soon with we talk with our regional recreation directors about this and their engagement to help us with this, because it's got to be more than just us going there. It's got to come from the ground up and from the bottom down. We all need to be talking about it. So we see it's important, and you'll see more of it this year. So thanks so much for that question, Randy.
Any other questions?
Not every day. You can ask anything you want.
Not seeing any in the chat.
What's the best program to work for?
Well, people ask me all the time, because I have lived all over and worked all over, and they go, Jerri, what's been your favorite place so far? And my answer to that is all of them, because there's so much out there. It's so hard to pick. And I think the same comes within our program areas. I think one of the things that we don't do a good job, that we need to get better at, is helping people to even know what those program areas are. We can probably tick off some of the big ones: fire, engineering, recreation, timber. But we're so much bigger than that. We're so much more than that. Most people don't even understand about our international program, our state and private. So I would say part of what I would encourage people to do is look to see what we have, because I've not had a program that I worked in that I did not enjoy. Am I enjoying recreation right now? Absolutely. Because that's where the party's at. We put the fun back in recreation. We are the ones that are leading out there. And a lot of what we've seen as a result of this pandemic is people with this deep desire to connect back with the land. And where are they going? They're going to those recreation areas. So am I all about recreation, heritage, volunteer resources, wilderness, and wild and scenic areas? Absolutely. And I'm continuing to look for more opportunities to help connect people to the land. And I'm really appreciating each of you now being ambassadors for us, which I hope you take up that opportunity to tell the good news about the Forest Service. We're not just Bambi and Boo Boo and Yogi out in the woods. We are a world-class organization looking for great talent to come and join us as we try to deal with all the issues that we're facing in the world today, and continue to be a place where people can come and relax and kick back and enjoy themselves with the natural resources that we protect on their behalf. I tell my kids when I was younger, when they were in school, and they have to say, "What does your mom do? What does your mom do? What is your job?" And well, to tell them that I was a forester, that just took way too much work. And so I would tell them, "You tell them, son, that I am the guardian of their inheritance." And I said, that'd make you the most popular kid in school. And I said, and then we can start to help them to understand what I do. I encourage you to join me to be guardians of our nation's inheritance, to provide it for all those who use it now and all those in the future. It has been my absolute pleasure to be with you guys today. Thank you again for your contributions. Thank you for even considering us. We know that you have lots of choices, but that you choose us, that says something. And we hope that you continue to choose us, and we will continue to look for ways to choose you. So with that, I turn it back over to you, and thank you guys so much. And I wish you nothing but the very best.
Thanks, Jerri. We did get one final question in the chat. I don't know if you have a chance to answer it, but it says, it's from Jenny, and she wants to know what advice you would give someone who's looking to change their career path while staying in the Forest Service.
I would say that we are bigger than one program area. You are bigger than one thing. Go for what it is. You know, I ask people all the time, what do you do best? And what do you like to do best? And if you can find a job that allows you to do both of those, man, you're cooking with Crisco. You're in a great spot. So I would say continue to look for those opportunities to do what you're doing while continuing to grow. We are a real big on allowing people to have training and growth. And I think one of the things we heard from the, all of the different presentations today was the ability for training and growth. And I would say continue to look for those opportunities, get details. I have done details all over. I even went one time and did a detail when I was working on my senior executive service training, and I had to go do something totally different. And so I went to the Grain Inspection Packing and Stockyard Association. Can I just tell you, I didn't know what that was. And after I got there, I was like, this man just hanging out with cows and, ranchers. What is this? But no, it was so much more than that. And what I got to do in the time that I was there was to help build their strategic vision for their organization and bring their organization under one hat. I would have never have gotten that opportunity if I just would have stayed there, but I got to totally invest in another organization, really get to know about them, and then bring that skill set back to the job that I'm currently in. So I would say, look for opportunities, ask for opportunities, take opportunities. Sometimes people will come to you with an opportunity and you'll be like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm out. Thanks so much. And I would say, don't say no. Say, let me think of all the ways that this could help me to get to something else. In my career, I kept trying to think of how to get to where I am now. And I knew that if I just stayed in one place, I would miss the opportunity for growth. So I took jobs and details and opportunities others didn't. And I gained and I grew quicker than they were able to, and get the opportunities that I want. So I'd say continue to look for those opportunities, ask for them. Even if sometimes people don't see that there's an opportunity that exists, that you can identify how that not only could be helpful to you, but it could be helpful to the organization with the skills that you bring back that will help you as you stay on that quest for just reaching all of your career goals. So I hope that answers your question. If not, I tried.
Thanks so much, Jerri. It's been amazing to listen to you and super inspiring, I'm sure, for all of us. So thanks so much. Sylvia, did you have some comments that you wanted to make?
Yes. So thank you so much. I have a lot of thank yous to go around. So first, I would just like to say I'm very proud, I'm very impressed with the presentations that we heard today. You guys were so inspiring, and I'm just so amazed at the opportunities that you guys were afforded and everything that you learned, the skill sets that you have obtained. And I'm just so excited about the future of the Resource Assistant Program, and also you guys with your start as you jumpstart your career in the Forest Service or with another agency. This event, I wasn't sure how it would go. It was just a thought, just an idea, and I shot it to Vanessa, and we made it happen. And I'm just so thankful that you guys decided to be a presenter today. And I thank Daisy for being our facilitator. I thank Jerri for your warm and inspiring and encouraging words. I think we are definitely going out with a bang hearing from Jerri, and there's just not much more that you add after hearing something like that. So I'm just so thankful for everyone for participating. Thank you guys for attending this event, whether you are a partner, an RA, a hiring manager, mentor, whomever you are. Thank you for attending this event. I just wanted to leave some last minute things for you guys to just kind of take with you as you move forward. So the last few things I want to mention would be RAs, don't forget about the portal. Don't forget about the outreach database. Don't forget about your resume. Don't forget to network. So whether you are extending, whether you're ending or getting hired, a lot of things that we talked about in that mid-year workshop that I had with you guys, don't forget. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Although I'm not in this role anymore, I am definitely available to assist you. Just wanted to give a quick announcement. There will be a wrap webinar on May the 30th to educate hiring managers on the hiring guidance for resource assistants. And so more information will be coming out soon. So if you are a hiring manager and you are interested in hiring a resource assistant, just know that we are definitely working on resources to provide you that guidance. And also, if you have questions, you can also reach out as well. The next announcement will be for the Manners hiring event that we will be having April the 6th through the 12th. For our RAs, although you will be receiving your certificate, keep in mind, as I told you guys during the mid-year workshop, that you will still be able to apply for these positions as a recent grad if you are still within your 2-year window. So just know that you will have that opportunity to apply as a recent grad or as a merit candidate with your certificate for those positions being advertised April the 6th. Any questions, reach out to me. I want to say thank you to Kristen Smith, who, as you guys know, she started this journey with you guys back in September. She was not able to join us today, but she wanted to send her love and she wanted to say thank you. And she's so proud of you guys for being resilient and being strong. And she just wants to say congratulations and good luck to you guys. And I just want to say thanks for her for telling me about this opportunity and sharing my information with Merlene. And thanks to Merlene for giving me the opportunity to serve as the Resource Assistant Program Coordinator for 120 days. And thanks to our leadership, Jerri, for also supporting me in this role. And so as of last week, I transitioned back to Region 8. But again, I just want to say thank you guys. It was such a pleasure to serve in this role, to support you guys, to educate you and provide you resources and encouragement. And I just hope that there was something that I shed a light on or encouraged you with, or something that I was able to share with you that you're able to take with you in your journey and in your career with the Forest Service. And so again, thank you to each and every one of you. And at this time, I will pass it back over to Daisy. Thanks.
Thanks, Sylvia, and thanks, everyone. Really exciting to be part of this community, and I've really enjoyed my time as a resource assistant and growing in this community. And I'm super impressed by all of you who presented today and all your inspiring words, and for our whole regional coordinators team and our Washington office team, and for all the people in the Forest Service who support RAP, and for all of our partners who really help us with all of these amazing projects and people, and just a really wonderful, diverse group of people, and really excited to be part of this community. So thanks everyone again for your time today, and reminder that this was recorded, so we will have the recording available if you want to share out with others so they can learn more about these fabulous emerging professionals, and encourage all of you in the agency to look in our RAP portal next time you need to hire any positions, and same for our RAs, make sure your profiles are in there. So really exciting, and thanks so much everyone for being part of this event today, and hope you have a fabulous St. Patrick's and St. Gertrude's Day today. Thanks everyone. Bye.